Late winter and early spring are good times to do a lot of pruning on certain landscape plants. And this is also the time of year when we get questions about how to tell the difference between the floral buds and the vegetative or the foliage buds. On some shrubs, it certainly doesn't make any difference because we're not growing them for the flowering. On others, however, if you don't know what you're looking at and you do want to do the pruning during the dormant season, you may in fact be ruining the flowering for that season. So let's take a look at a couple of them and talk about how you can see the differences. Sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's not. One thing to always keep in mind also is remember when those shrubs flower. If they flower early in the spring, like forsythias or lilacs, they're likely to have set their flower buds right after flowering the previous year. We call that old wood or one-year-old wood. And that means that if you're going to do any pruning without ruining those flower buds, you need to do it after they flower in the summer. So that's a little bit of a different ball game. Here's an example. This is actually one of the flowering cherries, one of the bush cherries. And you can see these buds right here. Those are the floral buds. Those are the vegetative buds. This is one that blooms very, very early in the spring. Lilacs are a classic. This happens to be the little leaf lilac, and it's a little bit harder, of course, to see the flower buds when the buds themselves are so little. But if you look really closely, you can see two vegetative buds surrounding a bud that will be a flower bud. This is another one, again, that you don't prune if you don't want to lose the flowers. You wait until after it blooms. Viburnums have oftentimes what we call naked flower buds, and it's really simple to see what those buds look like. This is a great example of a flower bud, a floral bud that was set last season. Here are the vegetative or the foliage buds on either side of it. So the simple thing here is if you really need to prune it, and here's another example, you can go ahead and prune this here or prune it right here. You're not going to ruin the floral display for this year. So again, knowing what you're looking at, taking some time to pay attention to where the shrub flowers also makes a really big difference. If you know that, you can begin to look a little more closely at which buds are going to produce flowers and which ones are going to produce foliage.